Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to ThursdAI. Today is February 19th, and my name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with weights and biases. I'm your host for today. And what a day, what a reason to call our show ThursdAI with breaking news just as we start the show. So I'm going to add my co-host here. I have Wolfram, Raven Wolf with this beautiful yellow jacket, and I have LDJ with a beautiful yellow background, almost like a jacket as well. Wolfram, how are you doing, man?
What a day, what a day. You brought a smile to my face when I read your post about, the breaking news.
Yep, 100%. So we're going to mention breaking news as well. We may have a surprise guest joining us as well to talk about the new update. LDJ is with us as well. What's up, LDJ? How are you doing? Muted.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm doing great. I just got like a good 10 hours of sleep, so I'm really energized right now, feeling really good, and
Let's go.
yeah, ready.
Looking forward for some energized tests from you for these new models while we at Niston. Niston, what's up?
What's up?
Did you already see the news or are you just jumping in?
No, I just see the news here while we're doing it.
Yeah, this is you and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty, folks. So it looks like we're assembled enough to start kind of chatting. Obviously, the breaking news that we have is Gemini 3.1 Pro just dropped from Google. Noam Shazir posted and said this is the best model yet. Besides, we had Pro last week. Oh, sorry, Deep Think last week. So now we're looking at Gemini 3.1 Pro in preview in Google AI Studio. Obviously, we're going to cover this very, very soon and talk about this and play with this and maybe run a few tests as well. So if you are here and you're not sure what the heck is going on with all the news in AI, we've been here for the past almost 2 years now, folks. As a reminder, in a month, we're going to have exactly 3 years as we started weekly broadcasts of ThursdAI to talk about everything. I recently had a chance to go back to some of these episodes. I'll tell you why later down the episode. And the stuff we talked about back then just looks so meaningless now. 4,000 context window, the intelligence level of a boot, and now we're having these intelligences just like come at us, and AGI is very, very close, right? So we're definitely gonna talk about this too. But the biggest news is probably here. So before we get to the biggest news, while we kind of have folks picking up here and tuning in from different places, we just say hi to some folks. We should start with our regular. What's been going on in the world of AI? What is the biggest thing for you in terms of news this week? I think we'll start with LDJ. You always have a good one. You can look at our notes, or you can just come with your own. What is the biggest piece of news that must not be missed from this week?
Yeah, in terms of that, real quick, I did send you a message about some technical difficulties in the side chat, but in terms of things that we should go over that and definitely not miss this week, I would say maybe Zifra releasing Zuna, the sub billion parameter model that is basically people are referring to it as dot to text. So it could take in EEG signals, which is electroencephalography from these signals from your brain, and basically better interpret that than previous models. And it's really interesting, really efficient, really small. I'm excited to see more work in that direction.
Yep, we're gonna mention this. Thought to text sounds ridiculous. We had a few folks on the show previously, kind of working to that direction. I think Tanishk was working on something like this, like converting MRI signals and EEG signals and stuff like this. So it's very interesting.
It can predict the image that you looked at by just looking at your MRI with only 1 hour of training per subject. So that one is crazy. So before, Stanford had about 1,500 people that had gone through MRI, and it would scan their brains based on what image they were looking at. And then what Tanish did, I think, might be wrong, is that for a new person, they trained it for an hour. They would look at images and they look at MRI, and they just feed those into the the diffusion model. And then after that, it could predict new images, like completely, just from 1 hour of fine tuning. And that was like over a year ago, I think. It would be pretty exciting to see if you can actually like predict video next, but you would need one of those like Japanese MRI machines to do that. But yeah, that's the thing. That's it's kind of scary to explain to people who don't know that is a thing that exists.
It is kind of nerve-wracking to realize that whatever something scans your brain, it can like potentially recreate the stuff that you see.
Yeah, they need to train it though. It has to be trained with you, like with how your brain pixels go in the machine.
Listen, how about you? What is your top AI news update from this week to tell folks?
I mean, this kind of went quiet. It's Qwen 3.5. It's almost 400 billion parameters with 17 billion active.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about this one because the Qwen models tend to usually have the best medical performance when it comes to stuff and generating data sets and doing that at multilingual stuff, which is things in data sets that I've published before. And this one has less active parameters from before. It was active 22, now it's active 17, but it's a bigger model. So that means it will actually run faster for this type of data gen. Well, that is when you run it with at least 4 GPUs or 8 GPUs.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Qwen 3.5.
Qwen 3.5. Almost single-handedly holding us to the open source roots that the show started with, despite multiple big labs dropping releases this week as well. It's been a non-stop run, folks. And yeah, Wolfram, what about you? What is your top one release?
Gemini for sure. Gemini 3.1. So excited. Yes, definitely.
Gemini 3.1, folks. The evals look ridiculous. I can't wait to start talking about this. I need confirmation whether or not we have a friend joining us to talk about this. But if not, we're just gonna go, and then we're gonna have 2 segments. But I will say, yeah, I think Gemini for me as well. Folks. This feels big. This feels big, like a big release, and apparently, I think OpenAI may follow up and not give Google even 1 inch of news. So we'll see today if we're gonna have a couple of breaking news.
Feels like they are holding back and waiting with their releases. When another one forges ahead, they just pull out one out of their drawers and put it out there. It feels like that.
It definitely feels like this. We never had just one breaking news on the show. We always have like multiple in a row. So yeah, it definitely feels like this. And we're gonna cover it, folks. In the comments section, folks who are listening, tuning in, we're starting, and we have around 200 folks around listening. What is yours? I see already Milos. Shout out to Milos showing up early as always. Grok 420, super interesting architecture. So Grok 420 also dropped. I think it's time for a quick TLDR of what we're going to talk about. Though I'm okay with this week. This week wasn't. I always say this. I always say as I start preparing the show, this week didn't seem like there was that much, and then I looked, and there's just an absolute, just too many things at once. Just a small note for folks who are tuning in on YouTube. YouTube kind of decides based on how you join if your screen ratio is going to be phone mode or the wide one. Both of them are streaming right now. It's kind of like a weird quirk of our streaming system. So if you don't like the phone mode, you can switch. You can go on the YouTube channel and switch. But definitely both of them are available. Alrighty, folks. I think it's time for a quick. You know what? No, I will tell you a short story before the TLDR while we wait for some folks maybe to join us as well. I went to a meetup for Cloud Code sponsored by Anthropic. Anthropic wasn't there, so Anthropic now just like sends people money to buy pizza or whatever to run these meetups. But Anthropic wasn't there. But shout out to Jake for organizing this in Boulder. And I asked a few folks whether or not they have agents running on behalf of them as they're at the meetup. And it doesn't seem like even folks who understand what Cloud Code is, who go to meetups, many of them had agents. So I actually asked the host to have folks raise their hand, and not many folks have kind of intelligence churning for them while they're there, but some do. And so I had a great chat with some of these folks, and I just wanted to bring this to the group here because I know for a fact the other two co-hosts, they're not here right now, Wolfram and Ryan, they kind of focus on having agents running all the while. And I think many people kind of got this ability with OpenClaw. And so I had a very interesting experience, and it looks like Ryan Boyle from comments also said he had a very similar experience. We're still in the bubble, folks. The stuff that we talk about here, I had folks over there that I didn't have to convince. I just told them my experience with OpenClaw, and only then they're like, "Oh, okay, then I may need to go install this." Some of them maybe are listening because I promoted the show there as well. But it does feel like even within the folks who know what Cloud Code is, there's an advantage of knowing things early. I don't know if this is your experience, guys. If you meet people outside the digital world.
Yeah, in Germany, it's also the same. But I can tell you something I was very surprised to see because, I come from the local Llama Reddit, basically, where I started. And recently, there has been a lot of discussion about OpenClaw, and it has been so negative. I was really shocked to see this. There are claims that it's not really a thing, that it is just crypto people pushing it, and that Peter just tried to make money. And I don't understand. Even people are asking, they have no use case for this. I mean, this is a local Llama subreddit. This is open source software. You can use it with local models as well. They may not be as good, but we didn't have out of the box experience like this. And people were, just like the AI, pessimists, basically. I was really surprised what happened in that subreddit. Yeah. I mean, it's so different from when I was there back then. Strange.
So it's very interesting. As though I summoned both Jan Peleg and Ryan Carson with this question. I'll repeat the question because they just came in. What's up, Ryan? Basically, first of all, I would love to hear from you the one piece of AI news that we must cover. But also, I brought to the panel this feeling that I went to a Cloud Code meetup, and even with that group of folks who go to the meetup to learn about Cloud Code and running Cloud Code, and someone was there I heart Cloud Code, I love it so much. Even with that group of people, many of them are kind of not following the news lately. I asked a bunch of questions of people whether they have agents running for them while they're at the meetup. Many people said no. There's barely a few people have gone through the same ringer as many folks on the show. And as I was talking about this, I mentioned Ryan and I mentioned Yam. And Ryan, we should absolutely mention Code Factory as well while you answer, but would love to hear from you your thoughts about this. When you meet people in the real world, if you're if you're so inclined, do you have that experience as well? Do you see that we're in our bubble way behind, or sorry, way before folks even discover some of the stuff?
If we're behind, we're in trouble.
No, we're behind by exactly a week every week, but literally and we're catching up.
Yeah, nice to see everybody. Enjoy. I love hanging out with you every week. And hello to everyone listening. So yeah, I actually had this experience. So I have this lovely group of guys that I meet with every 2 weeks. We have coffee. They're all older than me. And I said, everybody read Matt Schumer's article before, and then we're going to discuss it. And many of them had seen it before, number one, which is interesting because they're definitely normies. And then they basically, it was a mix of it was actually mostly fear and dread. It was no optimism. And they're worried about their kids and their grandkids. And I just said, y'all, I care about you, and I care about your kids and your grandkids. And the thing you need to tell them is they need to sign up for a paid account on either Gemini, Claude, or ChatGPT, and use it. And you have to use this stuff. So there's a lot of dread. A lot of dread out there. I mean, I think we're very lucky to be in this bubble because we're probably going to benefit massively from it. And everybody listening to this is probably going to benefit massively from it. And that kind of goes on to Code Factory. You know, I saw the article by OpenAI really documenting how they built a code factory using Codex. And we all knew, and we've all been trying to do these things. So I set 2-3 days aside and I got my repo completely ready as a code factory. You know, I'm shipping a lot. In fact, I'll be shipping while we talk. You know,
this is the point. This is the point that I would like to get to. I don't know if you guys remember from last stream. At some point, we talked about the psychosis and the AI vampire. Like we're working more and more and more. And I went like on a tangent. I need to post that video. And I was like, isn't the whole point of this to work less? And so I want us to all to get to a point where we can choose to work less if we want to, but it doesn't seem like it's happening.
It's not gonna. I'm working more than I ever have in my whole life.
Yeah. Well, you also left a job to become a startup founder, so there's that. There's that.
And by the way, I think I'm going to close my seed round this week.
Let's go.
I got my lead investor. So it's more. And my wife is traveling this week, and so I'm literally like, I've showered today, but that's a win.
That's why I asked whether or not there are other people that you talk to besides the family and the work. Jan Peleg, are you coming through? How are you feeling? What's new in your world? What's the one piece of AI news that we absolutely must cover based on your experience?
Man, OpenAI just acqui-hired the GOAT, Peter Steinberg.
Yeah,
absolutely deserve it. By the way, I mean, absolutely deserve it. The guy's the GOAT. No doubt. It's interesting. The entire, I think it's fascinating. The entire thing about OpenClaw, how simple everything is at the end, like how extremely simple harness, but well thought out, can, I don't know, just make this emergent phenomena of self-improvement, extreme great memory, personality, so on. I just want to say that I completely agree with the entire piece by Ryan about harness engineering and so on, code factory and so on. Absolutely. I mean,
yeah. And Yam, it's funny because I've been seeing your screenshots of your like matrix setup, and it makes me laugh. And I also think every time we do this show, how can you be the most advanced person in the world and you have shitty Wi-Fi?
Oh yeah.
I just don't understand.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. Like you're absolutely right.
What is going on?
You're absolutely right.
I want to pile on with Yam really quick and say I totally agree. Obviously, OpenClaw going to OpenAI is probably the news of the week. And then I've piled on, and you probably saw this, like my rant about Anthropic and their just complete lack of DevRel. Except for Tariq, and I admit Tariq is doing a good job mostly, but it feels like ghosts. And the fact that Dario doesn't follow anybody, it's just like, guys, just do DevRel. This is not that complex.
Yeah,
what's the matter at the end? Can we use OAuth or not use OAuth? I mean, I'm not sure. What's the end?
This is, I don't think there's a clear answer there, but this is definitely something we should get into in our section called Tools and Agentic Coding. I don't know what to call this. Collective psychosis. I don't know what to call this, but we definitely must talk about this. This is like a huge thing that happens. The show usually is news, folks, but there's just so much news happening with the world. I saw newsletters fully rebrand to like Claw things. I saw multiple companies now deliver agentic stuff just by like repackaging this open source. There's like so much happening in the world of that, and it feels like most of us are like at least 4 people I know on the stage are running OpenClaw right now, doing stuff behind the scenes for them, and many others as well. So definitely we're gonna dedicate a section, but not go fully crazy. I posted a tweet that's saying, how do you know somebody's running OpenClaw? They will tell you. And this definitely feels like this. All right. So go ahead, Ryan, and then Wolfram, and then we'll continue.
I think you should just call the section bonkers time. And we'll just talk about I mean, like I went over to a friend's house for an hour and Gemini 3.1 drops. I'm like, God damn it.
Yes, sir.
I can't keep up.
Yes. So we'll hopefully have friends join the show to talk about Gemini 3.1. But for now, let's go to TLDR. Wolfram, you had a comment? And then
I wanted to add one thing. I saw a very interesting post by Eric S. Raymond. You know, he's one of the open source founders, basically, who pushed it way back then in the 90s. He was one of the first people in the Linux community I was really excited about and followed a lot. And he posted as a veteran programmer that he loves the current state of AI, where he feels like a wizard. You know, that term was popular way back then when we were all wizards when we were doing Linux. And you talk to your familiars, you summon your demons, and you have them do your bidding. Basically manifest your will in code. And I think that's a great way to look at it. And yeah, the language has changed. Now we are talking to AI instead of programming assembly, but it is still the same thing. And people who adapt to that, they will always flourish, I think.
Very interesting lookout to compare this to like magic demon stuff. I know this will prevent some folks from entering this. We'll definitely mention. Can I just say this, and I'll address everyone directly, folks. We are here, and we've been here for almost 3 years now, every week to cover what's going on. The reason why we do this, the main reason is obviously we want to stay up to date, is because we know there's a shit ton of new things that we all need to collectively learn. And we love learning and talking to each other. And so we just noticed that other people love tuning into this. And the whole show started as a community thing. People would come in, people would comment. So I invite all of your comments as well. If you feel behind, just listen to the show because, you know, this is our collective attempt at staying ahead. And the other thing that I really, really want to impress on everyone is that the show is about positivity, and to counter doomerism about AI, we will be fine. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people don't know what's going on. A lot of people are just like severely don't like change generally. And this change has been happening faster and faster and faster. The way that I know how to handle change is like try to understand this. So this is what we're doing here on ThursdAI. If you like this kind of content, please feel free to come back and join us. And now, as always, we have a TLDR corner where we basically run through the news of this week one by one to tell you exactly what's going on. If you don't have the few hours to sit with us while we're in here, and then afterwards we'll dive into the news. I do have a slight change of plans today, and I think we will not start with open source. Ooh, but yeah, we're definitely gonna cover some stuff. All right, so folks, TLDR, and then we're gonna dive in. So just a small note for folks who are listening on YouTube, on Twitter, etc. Twitter seems to not post our tweet when we go live. So folks who are tuning in on Twitter, please repost if you're watching this. That's going to help very, very much. Nistan, you had one comment as well, or you want to dive in and then find a place for it?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, even when I talk here in Toronto to like company CEOs and other people that do use AI and use agents, I just feel like an alien, dude. it's this stuff, we've normalized it, but I don't know a lot of people that even see the value of paying $100 or $200 a month for the AI stuff. At this point, it feels pretty strange. Overall, I want to say that at the end of the day, we have an aging population, and we need to automate as much as possible while we still can. And that's going to take a lot of GPUs for someone to just fix your drywall or have a robot and stuff. And that's not going to happen without automation. Like, this is the solution to our problem. We have to make it work. We don't really have a choice. And it's a very good thing that we got it. So yeah, so I just want to look at it that way.
Nistan, are you still abstaining from an agent? Are you not enjoying the agents at the moment still?
Oh no, I'm running one right now. It's like,
oh, okay, you're back.
So
yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Just need to get a confirmation for LDJ that he's running, and then we're 6 for 6. And yeah, all right. So folks, let's start with the show. It's time for us to do the TLDR. Where's my? Welcome to TLDR, a section where we basically run through every piece of AI news that matters for the past week. Today is February 19th. I'm your host, Alex Volkov, with Weights and Biases from CoreWeave. With me on the show today, a full panel, LDJ, Wolfram Ravenwolf, Nistim Tahira, Ryan Carson, and Jan Peleg, a full panel of us, multidisciplinary panel of AI experts and agent orchestrators, let's call us. And we have a full show this week, folks. There's a lot of stuff that happened. Let's run through them super quick. In open source, we have Alibaba, our friends from Tongi Lab, Qwen, released Qwen 3.5. It's a 397 billion parameter open weights native multimodal MOE, and we're going to cover what that means. We all were collectively waiting for DeepSeek, and DeepSeek did not come. There's the Chinese New Year, basically, and all of the major labs, I believe that all of them were waiting for something to like beat DeepSeek. So all of them released last week. We talked with folks from ThursdAI about GLM5, and we talked with Minimax about Minimax 2.5, and then Alibaba also released theirs. So basically all major labs, including Kimi, released models besides DeepSeek. That's very, very interesting. No DeepSeek came. Cohere Labs released a tiny Aya, a 3.3 billion multilingual model family supporting 17 languages. Supporting 70 languages. So definitely worth noting that if you're into multimodal small models. Now to big companies, LLMs, and news. There's a bunch. So let's start. Yam mentioned this. I even forgot this was this week. OpenClaw founder, creator, Peter Steinberger joins OpenAI in what could be the first single founder $1 billion deal. We don't know the detail. We don't know the price. He didn't mention. He went on Lex Friedman's podcast to talk about some of it. But wow, what a turn. OpenClaw is now part of OpenAI. OpenAI is bringing back Open with this acquisition. Not only that, they will allow you to use your pro plan with OpenClaw. We should mention this as well. Anthropic started this week. Go ahead, Wolfram.
Yeah, I just want to say that Anthropic has basically said that it's not allowed. They made it very clear that it's not allowed to use your plan. So that is a big difference here.
Yeah, this week early on, also Anthropic updated their terms of use, and everybody freaked out because apparently you're not supposed to use your plans. Basically, I think the subsidized plans are crazy. For the $200 a month, you get like $3,000 worth of tokens if people correctly counted them. So apparently Anthropic updated the terms of use, and you're not supposed to use the plans for anything else. And then they updated them again and said that you're able to use it with the SDK. We don't know at this point, and so we would not recommend you to run your bots connected directly to your Anthropic plan. However, we're still waiting for them for a full confirmation. But yeah, earlier this week, while this was going on, OpenAI confirmed that you can in fact use your plans with OpenClaw. Although,
guys, so you can just make an agent that uses the other agent. You can make it type on the screen. You can make it type to OpenClaw. Yeah. Why is this so hard? Just make like a middleware that, come on. You have full control of the computer. You can type things. Like you can just use the web UI as an agent.
Yeah.
You can have the agent use other agents,
All right, let's continue. We'll definitely should discuss this and how are we running things and like what's the best practices. Many people don't even like have the clause, but other folks as well. All right, and ByteDance releases C2. ByteDance, the TikTok company, they released C2, which is a frontier multimodal LLM, and it's really surprising in the evals. We definitely should take a look at this. I don't know why you would use this if you're Western oriented, because it's not open source. So the other labs are releasing open source. ByteDance's one is just on there, but it's very surprisingly good. And obviously the big breaking news that we have, and I know we're in TLDR, but we have to do this. Gemini 3.1 launched. AI breaking news coming at you only on ThursdAI. So I think that this is the breaking news from today. Gemini 3.1 Pro is live on AI Studio. Let's go. Biggest and baddest LLM around, besides the DeepThink version that they had just a week ago. Noam Shazir posted about this, folks. 44% of humanities last exam, 77 on ArcAGI, Terminal Bench at 68, also state of the art, besides Codex, because uses other tools and harnesses. Just an incredible release from Gemini, folks. Shout out to the whole team for this effort. We're definitely going to dive into this, try to understand what's going on and when we can use this model. So Gemini 3.1 Pro from the big companies. We also have this here even. Grok 420 finally released. I don't know why I don't have this here. Grok 420 from XAI released. Last week we told you a little bit about the shake up in XAI's leadership, post-acquisition with SpaceX, and now Grok 420 released. Supposedly, Elon even leaked the size. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's kind of like, it's not a mixture of experts. It's an agentic model with 4 agents running, and they're running 500 billion parameters, and with like 4 agents that all together talk. They did not release one eval. One single eval was not released with this model. Looks like could be that this is the reason why some folks kind of like moved elsewhere from XAI. It's a very interesting release because it's really hard, as we've been saying on the show for a while, to judge XAI releases, just because Elon Musk has so many fans that will say whatever they release is incredible, just to like try to get him to retweet them to get some Elon bucks. It's really hard to judge XAI releases. I've played with this one. Not amazing. Not amazing.
So, how is it? How is it like not amazing like the other Groks? Because they're not bad, you know.
Yeah. Grok 4.1 I use all the time. I talked about this last week on the show, Ryan, if you remember. Grok 420 is not amazing. It's hard to explain to me why, but like the mixture of experts that they talk to each other, the agents, that's not what I want from a major lab. I don't want them to, you know, and if they do this, have them do this in the background.
Look, at the end of the day, you don't know. You don't care, I think, how it works.
I mean, yeah, DeepThink kind of works like this, like deep research works like this, but like I think they're making a show of it in the UI, and then the responses that I got were, you know, I wasn't blown away. But it's really hard to get blown away lately. I think
I felt the same way. It was even a lot of the default system prompts that I was using with the previous Grok. It just started like asking me a lot of questions back, and it was very weird. It was very on and off. I had to prompt it a few times to get the right thing. It's really strange. Yeah, it can be good because I tested it quite a bit. I didn't try doing any tool calls or anything like that, but it is. This one's weird. Not amazing.
Let's continue. In this week's Buzz, our own Wolfram is going to walk us through some benchmarking things that we did. I'm looking forward for that, Wolfram. And then we're going to go to vision and video. I put this in vision and video, but I don't know if this is the right place for it. LDJ, you mentioned this. Zifra releases Zuna, a 380 million parameter BCI foundational model. BCI stands for brain-computer interface, and EEG that reconstructs brain signals from sparse data. That's very interesting. Don't know why it's in vision video, but we at least need to mention this. In other news from voice and audio, Google DeepMind released Lyria 3 music generation model. It's now available in Gemini app, so you can generate music. We've had a few of them on the show before. There's a great one in open source called Ace Step, but now Google is launching their own as well. In tools and agentic coding, and whatever we're going to call this segment, Ryan is viral once again with Code Factory. Would love to hear from you, Ryan, about what has changed in how you're preparing this. Basically, if you run through Code Factory for us, that'd be great. Would love that. And also, there's a new startup launched in beta called Dreamer, a full stack platform for building and discovering agentic apps with no code AI. Launched fairly to big noise. So we'll see. And even friends of the pod like Wix are sharing good stuff about this. I think that this is most of the show this week. We may have a few guests joining. We'll see. But folks, anything big that I've missed co-hosts, anything big that I missed, but also listeners, anything huge that happened this week that we should talk about that is not on the list?
I think you nailed it. I mean, that's enough, isn't it?
There's more than enough. I hope that we get to talk about many of this. Okay, so I think we'll start with big companies and LLMs first. Many folks, I know that we've been hard on open source recently, but just there's so much to talk about here. So we'll spend the next hour or so, maybe next like 45 minutes to talk about the big companies and LLMs. And obviously, we should start with the biggest breaking news, Gemini 3.1, folks. It just dropped. So let's start with Gemini 3.1 Pro. Literally just dropped on Google AI Studio right now. Let's take a look at these. I'm tempted to hit the breaking news button again. Let's take a look at these evals. They are not left behind. So I first of all, a few things. The same price point. And let's see if I can zoom this in for you guys. Give me a second. Same price point, but with significantly better performance. Very interesting. They didn't launch Flash. They launched Pro immediately. Now it doesn't look like I can zoom in for you guys. Okay. How can I make sure that you guys see this like this? And
I saw that, but the problem is like as soon as I don't see bold on Sweetbench verified, like I'm not interested.
So, yeah, tell us about this, Ryan.
I mean, humanities last exam, ARC, fine, blah blah. I don't care. Like all I want is Sweetbench verified and Sweetbench Pro. Like and they're not top. And Logan and team, I love you, but I'm not interested. I'm just gonna stay on Codex 5.3. So.
This is 0.2% difference. You see this, right? So the only one comparison to that we have here is 80.8 for Opus 4.6 and 56.2 for on the Pro version for GPT 5.3 Codex. So basically, very very closely tracking, if not state of the art for those two Sweetbench verified. But Terminal Bench Pro, we're going to talk about Terminal Bench and its importance with Wolfram. But Wolfram, what do you think about this one? Look at this jump.
Because it's interesting. I mean, Ryan, you are basically an agentic engineer, so of course the programming benchmarks are the most interesting to you. For me personally, Terminal Bench is more interesting because it's often put in the coding category, but what it is actually, and we will look at it later, is agentic stuff like what we are asking of OpenClaw. And since I'm using AI mostly as an assistant in that way and not just as a coder, since I'm more an AI evangelist, not an engineer, that is why I'm most interested in the Terminal Bench scores, and I'm excited to see that this is now the top score here. It even bet the just released Opus 4.6. So yeah, I'm excited about this and how it will work in the OpenClaw and other agentic stuff.
Very interesting reporting here, Wolfram, that they have the Terminus 2 harness and then other self-reported harnesses. Right, so like they differ in scores here, and they say that Codex gets a higher score in Terminal Bench, significantly higher score, 10% higher score, but it's because it's using like a different.
It's using itself,
harness.
So it's a Codex model in its own harness, a Codex harness, and that is why they have the scores for these, and that is the state of the art actually. The Codex model and the Codex harness have the highest score. Basically very high.
Kudos on them for like releasing that many releases. The one notable thing that I want to talk about, LJ, I saw you raise your hand. We'll get to you as well in a second. MRCR V2, 8 needle, deep kind of like context, long context check. This is a very important one, especially for folks running agents and just like stack everything in their memory versus like running new ones with context. MRCR is basically the quality of recall versus long context. And it looks like they are now showing the Gemini 3.1 Pro is state of the art together with the latest Sonnet, which also has 1 million tokens. Very interesting. They say not supported here. Sonnet 4.6 they just released definitely supports 1 million tokens. So we found the bug in the eval table, but
still in beta. So maybe that's a reason.
Could be, yeah, could be. But very very good performance for. No, look at this poor performance for 1 million So I want to call this out like super quick for folks. If you see this MRCR V2 8 needle is at 1 million tokens in the context window at 26% recall. This means that the more you use these models, the closer you get to 1 million context, the less it will be able to recall any important detail from in there. So basically, while these models do support 1 million tokens, it's not that great to use them. So if you are paying the extra money for Opus 4.6 or for Sonnet 4.6 they just released, you know, the performance will not be that good. 26%. LDJ, going.
Alex, this is true of every context length. If the closer you get to the full context length, the more degradation you have. So basically, a good rule of thumb is to use half the context to make sure that you have the optimal performance, which also means that we can now go to 512K instead of just 100K if you just have a 200K context limit.
Yep.
So the usable range has been extended. At the extreme ranges, it is worse, but you have a bigger range that you can actually use.
Yep. LDJ, comments on Gemini and its performance?
Yeah, so a couple of things. On the MRCR V2 8 needle, I do actually have scores for Opus 4.6 at 1 million context, which does show it's significantly better than Gemini here.
For Opus?
Yeah, so I just linked it in the chat here.
Nice, okay.
And I do think benchmarks aren't everything, and from what I've seen in just a variety of tests, like especially like the SVG tests and like Minecraft Bench, where they have the different models, you know, build things in Minecraft. It does seem like Gemini definitely has some interesting agentic abilities here and there that might not be fully captured by the benchmarks.
Yeah.
But here we could see at 1 million context for Opus 4.6, it gets 76%, and this is also MRCR V2 8 needle.
Wow, look at this incredible difference. Yeah. Could explain? So just for folks who are just listening, LTJ just sent us a confirmed screenshot, I think, from Opus 4.6 on MRCR on 1 million gets 76% recall for long context retrieval, while the new Gemini 3.1 Pro self-reported from Google gets 26%. So 76 versus 26%. This seems very, very interesting. This seems almost like a bug interesting. So first of all, Gemini folks did not report the 1 million scores for Anthropic in their comparison, but they did report the 1 million, the regular ones.
Mm-hmm.
So
and to be fair, like this 26% number here is actually pretty typical, and I think even just like 3, 4, 5 months ago is actually really good. So like Opus 4.6 is actually unusually high in this regard. I think if I remember right, I want to say 5.2 or 5.3 from OpenAI is like around 50-ish. Actually, no, they don't have 5 mil scores, but they have like 400K scores, and that was like around like 50-60%.
I think something is wrong with one of those tables. Okay, so look at here, Opus 4.6 on the Google's table, they report 84% for 128 average tokens, 128,000 tokens. In your screenshot that you just sent, Opus is reported at 93% for 256K.
Yeah, so
Gemini looks like they're underreporting because the highest score belongs to Opus based on the screenshot that you sent, unless they have looked at different things. So that's very interesting.
I noticed if you go all the way to the left in small text, Gemini's benchmark does report. It says average, it's reporting for 128K, and then point-wise for 1 million. I'm not sure why they chose to do different measurements for the different contexts, but that might be a discrepancy of like, maybe Opus's 256K figure, maybe that's using a point-wise value. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll get to the benchmark segment, and Wolfram will tell us that it's extremely difficult to pinpoint specific exact and comparisons. Nissan, go ahead.
It's not passing the vibe check for me. I tried the same thing that we threw at same Martian thing that we threw.
You mean the Gemini model?
Yeah, I'm just trying it right now in AI Studio. The thing I have to say, it is very fast. Like it finished that task in like 1/10 the time of like building a Martian train launcher on Mount Olympus. It finished it extremely quickly compared to the other ones. I'd say like even 5 times faster. But I have to like keep prompting it because in further stuff it just makes mistakes and doesn't really know how to continue the work. I am not liking the initial vibe test. I do like how it's making UIs, the new styling and stuff, but yeah, this.
In what way are you using it? Are you using this in AI Studio's kind of like vibe coding thing, or just like directly at AI Studio?
Just the AI.dev, their own vibe coding thing.
The vibe coding thing, right? You want to show us?
Their own environment? Yeah, sure, but it's a blank screen, so.
There's no.
Like it just broke it. I mean, I can drive.
Alrighty. Yeah. So meanwhile, we found some interesting kind of like discrepancies on benchmarks. MMLU Pro seems to be a good one. Multilingual Qwen, listen while you put it up. Let's see.
Always the strengths of Google. They had one together with Opus. Actually, they had the best in German, and so I think in other languages as well, multilingual capabilities.
So I'm on. Okay, yeah, that's me. So you can just go to the build one, and yeah, and we just say make it amazing. So the prompt is calculate how long the mass driver would need to be, like a game, and we'll just try it again here, and you're gonna see it is extremely fast. Like this is going to be done in about 20 seconds. I ran another version here, and that one is just
nothing rendered.
But it does, like you'll see it up here in a sec. It writes the components and stuff. It is extremely fast. So I'll give it that. Let's just give it another 5.
Is it writing multiple files in parallel, or just like the one file?
No, just one file at a time. I think it's almost done. There, it's done.
Oh wow!
So we can do it.
That was fast.
Yeah,
was really
it's fast, but it's fast, but it often just doesn't work.
So the question is if it's good.
Yeah, so let's see if we can go back here to the one it did manage to.
Something ran, right? Something happened, and then just the launch didn't work.
Yeah. So I can just restore the first one because the first time it did do it.
Okay.
And so we can kind of compare here to how we had it last time.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, it did make it. Okay, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But again, it's not quite there compared to Codex or 5.2. It's not bad, but
we see a simulation, right? Like we see a orbital launch thing happening. We see speed. This looks more like a game than the other ones that we've tested. It look more like a simulation, like strategy thing.
Yeah,
and it has like
I'll give
full.
It this. It's not that bad, but
it's not bad at all.
I am not impressed compared to what Opus and Codex did. They had a fully working one with like trajectories and stuff, and this is like I'm just stuck here.
So this goes to I think why everyone loves Codex 5.3 right now. Slower is much better if it's right. It turns out like it is worth the extra 5 seconds, so you actually get good code, and I think that's going to continue.
It really depends on which task and what exactly you're using. I mean, I agree.
Pure software engineering is what I'm talking about.
Look, I agree. Codex at the moment, in my opinion, is the most powerful coding model at the moment. But you really need to know how to use it, how to prompt it correctly, because it will do exactly what you tell it to do. Like you really feel that it's a computer. It's a little bit different than Opus. Opus, you can vibe with it. You can say stuff like, make it good looking, like make it nicer or something. And it kind of gets you. codecs, it's not the same. If
I
you get
agree.
what I'm saying.
A very practical example is, so I call my coding agent Scout, and it's got its own email address. And so I was talking to Codex, and we were laying out our code factory, and I said, okay, your name is Scout, like, and your email address is this. And so when I say Scout, it's you. And it was like, okay. And then, a minute later it was like, Scout will do this. So it doesn't seem to have this awareness like Opus does of like who it is. It's fascinating.
Yeah. So just to confirm, you guys are talking about Codex 5.3 in a different harness.
Sorry, Codex 5.3. There you go.
Yeah, for Codex 5.3. I agree. Like, it feels very clinical. It's not fun to talk to, but like it's like a schizo engineer, and it's great. Yes.
I like the results from Codex. They were very different from the very vibey Opus 4.6, but it did make an actual simulation, and I would see the orbit, and it felt good. Like it felt like something that was somewhat finished and correct. And this one, maybe it's just Google's harness. It is also likely that plays a big factor too. But it's not passing the initial vibe check.
All righty, LDJ, any other comments?
Yeah, even Qwen built one. So
yeah, on the Terminal Bench 2 scores, I noticed they were specifically saying, so they showed bold, which indicates that they have the best score, but that's on their own harness, or sorry, not their own harness, on the Terminus harness. But when it comes to actual custom harnesses or the best harness for each model, which I think at the end of the day, that's what ultimately matters. Seems like that's not reported, but I recall Codex and the Codex harness. No, not T2 bench.
Terminal bench.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So there we go. See, so in the Codex harness itself, OpenAI with GPT 5.3 gets 77%, and it doesn't. I would say that's the true highest score here, just in terms of like what we ultimately want is in the best conditions, what do the models get if you put them in the best harness, right?
Yeah. So folks who are listening and have no idea what harnesses are, basically a set of prompts to tell the model how to behave. And the folks who are building the models, they know the best prompts for the models that they release. They iterate on them. Many of them put the same prompts kind of in the training in RL as well. So the harnesses this is why Cloud Code slaps so much for so many people. Ryan, go ahead.
This is a good point. And I honestly think that this is why the agent labs are struggling. I was on the AMP team. I love AMP, but every single agent lab is fighting this natural flow where the model is made by the lab and then the harness is made by the lab. And it's just hard to believe that they're not going to do the best job at implementing a harness around their model, right? And so this is why Codex CLI and the Codex Mac app is so good with Codex. And this is, like you said, why Opus 4.6 is so good with Cloud Code. I think it's just really, it's going to be hard to beat that. I think it can be done, but it's like fighting gravity.
Yep. It's really an interesting choice to work in an agent lab when all of these saw the success of Cloud Code, which is now $2 billion business, whatever, which started as a side code, and it's like a TUI on top of a set of prompts and a terminal UI on top of their models, and Anthropic goes all the way. All right, folks. So this was Gemini 3.1 Pro in preview, available in the AI Studio. I don't know if it's available already in the API, but I think everything in the AI Studio goes to the API as well, right? Like, I think that you just mentioned the string, so it could be available as well. Wolfram?
Also on OpenRouter already. I switched my OpenClaw over and I'm using it there right now.
I don't. Okay, continue.
Yeah, what's the first vibe check for you?
I had it build a website, and yeah, it's cool. I even told her to get her avatar from online, and she did it, and yeah, it looks great.
You want to show us something you want to show? Well, Yam, you wanted to chime in. Wolfram, if you want to bring it up, feel free.
Yeah, just want to say that I don't see it on Gemini CLI yet, and I'm refreshing like crazy. So just
maybe worth updating the version then. Sometimes it's like
no, I'm updating all the time. I know, I know the drill. It's every week.
Alrighty, Wolfram, anything you want to show us? Feel free.
Let me check if I can.
I want to see the website. So obviously,
yeah, the website was in AI Studio. That is in AI.
Oh, you built the website in AI Studio. Okay.
Yeah, I just used AI Studio and said build as a web page. That was basically the prompt with basically the personality that I'm using in OpenClaw as well. While in OpenClaw itself, it's still generating. So maybe it's overloaded, I can't say, but I can show you the website if you want to.
Yeah, definitely show us. We want to see the one-shot ability of this. Although I posted this week, I believe the one-shot is a myth, and would love to talk to you guys about why I feel like this, especially for front end.
Dude, 100%. Whoever says one shot just like it doesn't actually use these tools or understand anything about anything. Like nothing is one shot in the real world.
So much nothing is one shot that I remain very optimistic that engineers' jobs are not going away anytime soon. Just so much of this is just like you need the human to be in the loop. You need the human to like give directions and how exactly you want it. Like no matter how intelligent the models seem to be, the part of decision making seems not to scale together with the ability of coding, at least as far as I can see. Right? What do you think?
Yes, but so I'm just about to close my seed round, got cash in the bank, should be getting ready to hire, but the truth is I'm not. And so what's going to happen is like I'm going to continue to be like the 10x engineer on the project until I start to break. And then what I'll do is instead of hiring 2 engineers, 3 engineers, I'm going to hire 1. I'm going to pay them very well. So way above market, right? Yeah. But I'll expect them to be running, agents 24/7, 365 and be probably at least 5 to 10x output and effectiveness of what I would expect in normal SWE. And this is real. Like, I feel like I live on in the ditches in the front line, like and so I think that's where we're going is software engineers are not going to lose their jobs, but no new software engineers are going to be hired en masse. And I think that's just kind of where we're going. And the problem is I need experience. Like I need the person to have the 5 to 10 years of experience in the real world, building real stuff. And I think that's a real gnarly thing that's going to happen.
You need experience both in software engineering and also agentic kind of approach. So you need folks who've been around, kind of like most everybody here on this panel, but also are agentic to their core to be able to use that experience and then multiply this with those tools.
Yes. And the problem is a lot of those folks are going to want to start their own startup. Like they're not going to want to work for anybody. So it's going to get gnarly, I think, pretty fast.
Yep.
It's a different skill, It's a different skill than writing good code. I think it's closest to managing a team of software engineers, especially when you're talking to codecs that it speaks a very like narrow language of software engineering, and you try to like articulate what exactly you want from it in terms of the business problem, and you need to speak. I mean, it's a completely different skill. I totally get what you're saying. I mean, it's very hard to find good people.
All right, folks. I think let's do a demo of Gemini and then continue because we have a bunch of news and we're kind of like I love this conversation. Like I wish we had 2 shows. One of them for news, one of them just talk to you guys to see where you at, where other people at. Wolfram, let's show us the thing and then we'll move on because we need to talk about Sonnet.
Okay,
that also released this week.
Let's take a quick look. I have shared it already. Can you put it on?
Yeah. It looks like people are just like vibing with our discussion. So okay, we'll do for once. We'll do what the people want. Wolfram, let me put your screen on there. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So basically, the prompt was built as a website, and what she created is basically that is my OpenClaw persona as well that I've been using for 3 years now, even before that OpenClaw stuff. So basically, it's a chat interface, and it even has audio, which I just realized when I just said hello. And I can zoom in a bit.
So just to confirm, Wolfram, this is your prompts that you've been carrying and honing for a while in AI Studio, building a website with the new Gemini 3.1 Pro.
Same prompt everywhere, and basically built as a website. And she created a chat interface with the zipper controller. You can unzip a bit, and it creates new images that way, changing the assistant mode from public assistant, private assistant.
Wolfram, we can't trust you, man. God.
Well, I did
avert your eyes, everybody.
But yeah, I like Gemini.
Yeah, it looks like Wolfram likes Gemini.
It's taste.
All right. So wait, is that Nano Banana Pro behind this?
Nano Banana Pro generating the image. Said it is using some voice to play that I turned off here, but basically when I say something, it is also getting a voice. So it did all of this with just one build it, and then I told it, look for her avatar online and put it in with the zipper, changing it.
Yeah.
So basically, that is what happened. Interesting. Cool model.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. All righty. So
just a question, Wolfram, got any example of a different model just so we can compare,
I didn't try this yet with a different model. You mean just having another model build a website?
Just the same prompt, just throw it on and see, like you're using the same editor, so you can basically just change it and see the difference.
Yeah, in this case, it is Google Studio, Google AI Studio.
Yeah.
Where else do you mean?
Oh, so yeah, so maybe I don't know, maybe throw it to Claude.ai, but yeah, but I thought you use it in the LLM Studio. I didn't hear you. Yeah, AI Studio.
Yeah, LLM Studio. I could use that as well and have it do this. But the prompt is always the same in OpenClaw, ChatGPT, everywhere. I even turned it to Chinese to fit it in the boxes in ChatGPT.
Right, folks. We have to move on because otherwise we're going to sit here for the whole day, and some of us are busy founders, so they won't be able to. Anthropic released Cloud Sonnet 4.6. Sonnet is the kind of the everyday use AI from Anthropic. Before the Max accounts, Sonnet was the day-to-day use for many, many people. And with Max accounts, people kind of switched to the most expensive, very much intelligent Opus 4.6. But Sonnet for the longest time was kind of like, we keep saying Sonnet at home, Sonnet at home. Sonnet is the kind of the daily driver for many, many folks. And Sonnet 4.6, this is still Wolfram. Hold up. Sonnet 4.6 is a great model. It supports 1 million tokens in a context window. It gets 79.6 on Sweetbench verified, very, very close to state of the art, like almost 80%. 72 on OS World, great at computer use. It's now the default model that runs on Claude AI. I think this is also the model now for everybody who doesn't pay yet on Claude. And it has 1 million tokens in the context window in beta as well that you can send entire code bases into. $3 per input, $15 per 1 million tokens output. Still not super cheap, but you get 90% savings via prompt caching as always. So definitely choose the harness that has the caching. What do we think, folks? Did you try the new Sonnet? What do you think?
I haven't had time. So yeah, it's like I haven't had time.
So when you say you haven't had time, I just want to clarify. You're using Opus, and so switching back to Sonnet is opportunity cost to you, right?
Yeah. So this is actually, I was thinking about writing about this. I do think at some point, like you have to pick.
Yes.
And so I've decided, like I'm all in on the OpenAI stack. I just am. Like I'm all top to bottom in, and as tempting as these trinkets are, it's completely destroys my productivity.
Yes. Context switch is real.
That's it. And if I was going to be using an Anthropic model, it'd be Opus anyway. So I just don't care about Sonnet 4.5 unless I was in my app and I need a specific inference, reason to use it.
Yeah. LDJ, what about you?
Yeah, so I tested it a bit yesterday. Talking about the new Sonnet 4.6 that just
Sonnet 4.6, correct? Yes.
Yeah, so I tested it a bit. I mean, it's hard to say kind of cool new things about things that are not frontier models like the Opus models, but I'd say it just kind of feels like a smaller Opus 4.6 basically. It does feel though, based on like the benchmarks and kind of based on some of my tests, I get the impression that maybe it's trained for a lot longer. So like maybe less parameters, but trained for a lot longer than Opus in terms of like more iterations, more chances of RL feedback during the training loop. And if you actually look at some of the benchmarks, what's interesting is Sonnet 4.6 actually scores like slightly higher than Opus 4.6 in some benchmarks, which I think is maybe because of this, maybe just because it's less parameters, they might have had the opportunity to train it for much longer than they did.
Wait, then Opus 4.6 or Opus 4.5?
Opus 4.6, I think. Let me double check, but I believe it. Yeah, I did see, I think.
Yeah. So what I have in notes is that Claude said in Claude Code early testing, and they test sometimes behind the scenes for people. So sometimes when you get results from Claude, it's because they tested. Users preferred Sonnet 4.6 over 4.5 roughly 70% of the time, and preferred Sonnet 4.6 over Opus 4.5 59% of the time. So almost 60% of the time, people, when they got Sonnet, the new Sonnet 4.6 versus the previous Opus, they prefer Sonnet, which is supposedly faster as well. I've been testing this within OpenClaw. I switched to it in OpenClaw, and I've been testing this. I fairly quickly switched back to Opus, again, because I have the Max account connect still, and it's fine, and I don't pay for these tokens. If I had to pay for these tokens, and if I will have to be paying for these tokens going forward, given the TOS thing, I will definitely fall back to Sonnet just for the price. The price is ridiculous. The price for Opus 4.6, especially if it goes over the 200K, is just absolutely crazy. Nobody has time to pay for this.
The quota is also higher. Even if you are on the subscription, the quota for Sonnet is higher. So if you are doing multimedia stuff like ingesting images and so on, so you can quickly blow the context and surprise that way the rate limits. Yeah. So if you use Sonnet, it is also multimodal, and you can do more before you hit the limit.
I've been running.
I was just going to say, so I did pull up the Sonnet 4.6 versus Opus 4.6 benchmarks, which I linked in the StreamYard chat. And I am confirming with my eyes here on Finance Agent v1.1, agentic financial analysis. Sonnet 4.6 does score a couple of percentage points higher than even Opus 4.6.
Yeah.
As well as on GDPval, it also scores a bit higher in ELO than Opus 4.6 there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sonnet beats the previous Gemini 3 Pro in pretty much every benchmark. The Sonnet, the smaller version, beats kind of the thought lead. Guys, we're moving so fucking fast. What's going on? This feels like the same strategy that all these companies have. They release a big model, and then they kind of use some of it releases to distill into the smaller models. We've seen this all over and again. Sonnet has the same vibe from Opus as well. Like it has the same kind of soul-y thing. It has the same fun to talk to with. So that's very interesting. So you can absolutely use one of these Sonnet models to run Codex for you. By the way, if you are if you feel what Yam and Ryan here feel, that like Codex is the best coding model, but you don't necessarily want to talk to it directly, you can have a middle agent talking to your like lower agents and have them code and then review their results and write prompts for them. That's definitely a thing. Obviously, if you want to get super good at it, you need to talk to the intelligence directly and not delegate. But yeah, Sonnet 4.6 also multi-modal, but not fully multimodal, right? Like it has MMMU in there. It can see images, but I don't think it understands the videos, for example, yet. It has visual reasoning that looks very, very good. All righty, folks. So that's Sonnet. Any other comments about Sonnet before we move on? Folks are asking in the comments, is Sonnet more expensive model versus Opus? No. Sonnet is much cheaper than Opus. Much cheaper. It looks like 2 times cheaper at least, depending on the context length. The reason why it gets a dedicated usage bar in the Sonnet app is because it's cheaper. And so, like Opus is the higher one. Everybody switched to Opus because this is the release cycle, and that's what Anthropic did, and because of OpenClaw. But Sonnet is much cheaper, and it costs significantly less money for Anthropic to run this, and so this is why it gets its own usage bar. I think it's time for us.
You can blow up your quota really quick if you go with long context. I mean, it also burns your quota much quicker. So you really need to pay attention to how much context you actually use. So just to say.
All right, super quick coverage of ByteDance Seed 2.0. People said nobody's talking about Seed 2.0. Seed is a frontier multimodal LLM with Pro, Lite, Mini, and Code variants. They rival GPT 5.2, which is no longer in the race at all, and Cloud Opus 4.5. But the pricing is insane. So here's the thing with the Chinese kind of like releases. This is from ByteDance. ByteDance now steps up to be one of the leading AI providers from China. You know, they join Ernie, and they join Qwen and Alibaba, and they join like a bunch of us. There's a whole universe there that's happening. For us Western folks, like I don't see necessarily a reason to run this, but the reason for many folks who are price conscious is this price, right? So Seed is very close to GPT-4.5 quality, and maybe even Opus 4.5, but 84% cheaper than Opus 4.5. So if you're absolutely price maxing, which if you're only starting out, that's probably what you should be doing. This could be a great model for you to try out. You have to register to ByteDance though. It is multimodal with video understanding, and I think that this is the highlight. This is multimodal with video understanding. As far as I know, so far, Gemini is the only video understanding model that we have access to from the big ones. OpenAI has video understanding, never released it to customers, but we were able to trick this with some WhatsApp forward tricks, if you guys remember. So definitely the OpenAI models understand video, but they seem to not give this ability to people. ByteDance has video understanding that surpasses the human benchmark, 77% versus the human benchmark, 73%. So if you need video understanding for that price, this is probably a very, very good model for you to try.
Actually, Kimi can do up to 30 minutes.
Kimi K2 can do video. Oh, the latest one is multimodal, of course. Yeah. 2.5 is multimodal. Yes.
Yeah, and it can do like 2048 by 1080 video. So.
That's right. Thank you, Nistan. This is a great call out. Kimi on their service as well can do video. What else about ByteDance that is interesting, folks? Let's take a look super quick here. MMU Pro, Math Vista, very, very high. This seems like a very good model with math reasoning, very high as well. Agent performance, they say beat Opus 4.6. The thing that is very clear after doing ThursdAI for such a long time is that no matter how performant these models are on benchmarks, sometimes the real world use is just not there. And we've seen this time and time again. We talked about benchmarks because, well, that's what we have. And obviously, all of us are busy. We don't have time to test out all the models. And then at some point, when we do get to test the models, some of them fall completely flat. This is an example of Kimi K2, for example, that on benchmarks loses maybe to GLM5, but it's just like much nicer to talk to, kind of like similar to Opus. So there's definitely this, but shout out to ByteDance for this release, and we're going to keep you up to date about the releases. It's very interesting that Seed 2.0 and Seedance, they have very, very specific naming criteria for their models. We talked about Anthropic changing the rules. We should probably mention this again because we only talked about this in the TLDR. At some point yesterday or the day before, somebody noticed Anthropic's documents changed and said it's illegal to use the OAuth with the max accounts for anything else besides Codex, besides Cloud Code, for anything else besides Cloud Code. And then including using their agents SDK, and I think they reverted back. So right now we are not 100% clear on where we stand, but Anthropic definitely fumbled the bag a little bit with both OpenClaw and now enabling people to use their max accounts. The number of folks that I know...
but the Chinese labs have especially stated that their subscriptions can be used with this, like OpenAI did.
Yeah.
So basically everybody except Anthropic and maybe Google are saying, yeah, you can do this, while they are saying, no, you can't.
Yes. Many of them, by the way, jumped directly into hosting. So Kimi jumped into hosting OpenClaw on their account. You can host a full OpenClaw instance on Kimi. And many other ones as well. Anthropic seems to be the one that is falling behind there and does not want people using their max account. OpenAI responded in response that you can absolutely use your Codex subscription, your OpenAI Pro subscription for everywhere that you want, which is very interesting approach. The amount of people that I saw decide to buy the $200 a month Claude account because of OpenClaw is surreal. Like it's like most everybody who tries it.
That's literally me. I hadn't paid for the Claude Max plan until OpenClaw. I did it, and then I just canceled it, and I switched to OpenAI because you can use Codex, et cetera, on it. And yeah, it was a smart move by Sam to get Pete on board. Like, they're lucky to have him.
Yeah. And we're going to look forward for more updates on kind of like OpenClaw and OpenAI compared to this. And just the amount of, if they get telemetry from bots or get the usage or the amount of people working on that repository is insane. Like there's 200,000 stars on GitHub that OpenAI just essentially bought. And they bought not necessarily the code, they bought a whole community of people kind of like trusting that OpenAI could get there. Whatever Opus has, OpenAI could get there. But ChatGPT, oh my God. Can I pause for a second from the news and just tell you guys that I stopped using ChatGPT for the longest time. I don't know, remember when I went in there. Yesterday, I went in there. I was listening to an audiobook and I asked it, hey, without spoiling, can you tell me some stuff that I need to clarify? It's like, sure. And then every answer, it added this like obnoxious additions to the actual answer that I wanted. It seems like you did. This like puppy dog behavior, I cannot like explain exactly what it means. The fact that I just like stopped using it for a while, came back to it, and this is how it still responds. And this is GPT 5.2, whatever the latest one. I looked at it cringing. I was like, no, stop. Why are you talking like this? Why is it this bad? And many people who only use ChatGPT probably never experienced anything else. And I can see absolutely for them that the AI is not improved. After chatting with OpenClaw and feeling what Opus is, and even the clinical GPT 5.3 codex, going back to regular ChatGPT, seeing it respond, it's just so obviously AI that just like hurts my brain. I don't want to talk to it anymore. I don't know if this is your guys' experience, but it was really bad yesterday. I just wanted to like highlight.
When I canceled my OpenAI subscription, that was the moment when we had the new, was it 5.2? When we had it on the show, at the end of the show, we were using it. I was using it. I didn't mention it on the show, but I just did my vibe checks and canceled at that moment. I haven't used it since then.
I'm really hoping that they now will pick it up. Yeah, LDJ, go ahead.
Yeah, so ChatGPT has actually in the past few weeks ended up incorporating some type of personality settings that you could adjust, where if you go into personalization, there's things like the warmth of the model if you want to kind of be warmer or colder, the conciseness of the model if you want it to be more elaborative or more concise. And I tuned a lot of those settings in that part of the ChatGPT settings, and after doing that, I actually like it a lot more. And I've been, I would say, kind of 50-50 between Claude and ChatGPT now.
Interesting.
And it's not like as much of like a stark kind of like, oh my God, ChatGPT is such an annoying personality,
Yeah, we have the same comment from the comments as well. That sounds like I need to change some settings since I used it last. I don't want to change settings. I want the default to work for me like others. But yeah, I agree. I will play with the personality. It's just like it was so obnoxious. Now, here's the thing that we need to mention. OpenAI have obsoleted a bunch of the previous models back in February 14th, like during the weekend. So since we last talked to you, there's a whole host of people for whom 4.0 was gonna, I don't know how to explain this, but like 4.0 was like the best model in the world for them, and they get really, really upset at OpenAI. So I'm assuming that some of this behavior is OpenAI trying to like placate those people within the existing models. That's just an assumption of mine. Folks, we have to move on because we've been here for a while now, and we haven't even started talking about Grok or open source or evals and or code. Like, okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Grok 420. I will show you Grok 420, and then we're gonna mention this. So on Grok.com, there's 2 new releases now. Finally, XAI released Grok 4.20. It's in beta. And now if you run anything like this, who are the co-hosts of ThursdAI show on X? You will see a very interesting agents thinking UI here. And you can see that like multiple AIs are talking between themselves, and you can kind of see their thoughts, and all of them are researching. This is a very interesting attempt because these you can see all 4 answers kind of like here. They're pretty much the same. And it found all the co-hosts here of ThursdAI. They're listed explicitly regular co-hosts on the official website. Appear in 50 plus episodes each, especially I don't know why. Frequently tagged and shouted by Alex in episode recaps. This is not a bad research. For 26 seconds, 4 agents went and did like a deep dive. But this is like 206 sources scanned, including Spotify. So the fan out search, that's very similar to Google AI mode. They have like a very big fan out search. So it explains some stuff. Now, actually, we'll give it a thumbs up. Why not? Let them learn. But the very interesting thing is this release from XAI is not a standard release. We haven't seen any evals at all. No benchmarks, no evals. We did see them with 4.1 and 4, and they get like all the celebration. 4.20 just released silently, and then Elon Musk started like tweeting about this. This is now kind of how things work. It's not an API yet, so nobody could test it independently as well. And the thing that they say about this, multiple things. One, it's a 500 billion parameter models times 4 or times 16. They released a heavy version. If you go and here and you see heavy, for $300 a month, I literally don't know who's paying XAI $300 a month. You can get highest usage, and you can get the. It's not showing here, but you can get the Grok 420 heavy with 16 kind of personalities, 16 bots doing things together. I don't know who would use this. I definitely know that both the Gemini DeepThink and GPT-5 Pro, whatever versions of the Pro versions of GPT, they're all the same kind of like behind the scenes. They all do fan out, and then some model ranks and compares, and this is how they're so good at different tasks. But it looks like Grok decided to just like show this to you in the interface. Any comments on Grok 420, folks? And the fact that, it was supposed to release a couple of weeks ago, now it's February, it just released, and it's very much underwhelming compared to where we thought XAI would be with the Memphis and the GPUs they have. LDJ, go ahead.
So I recall it was confirmed by XAI that they said Grok 3 and Grok 4 are 3 trillion parameters. And so now this 500 billion parameter thing you're saying, is that confirmed? Because if that is
that's Elon posting.
Okay, so then I guess they like shrunk the size of each model. I guess it's interesting. Yeah.
Elon posting this like almost like verbatim. Let me go find this, but yep.
Look, it's not bad, but
it's not bad.
It's not good for day-to-day work, like for agentic stuff. But what it is, I'd say still the best at, maybe, or top tier at, is this research stuff. Just because of whatever RAG system and research system that XAI has, that one is still excellent. And so it is worth, if you're going to do a deep research task, maybe you can just tell your agent, hey, just go on Twitter or grok.com and type this in and get a report from it and get all the sources. Because it's very good at the sources.
Yeah, sourcing is really good. Ryan, go ahead.
I want X to win. I just want to be very clear. I love X. I've been on X for like 19 years, literally. The new algorithm is bonkers. Like, I'm getting over 1 million views on all my articles now. I posted about my Dell monitor the other day, and Michael Dell stopped by. This is a magical place to be, but nobody uses Grok for production stuff like that I know of. Nobody uses it for coding. So I'm kind of left with that. Like, it's great to see it cranking in the X interface, doing amazing research for you, Alex, and I know you use it heavily. But it seems like the talk that Elon says and where the world is as far as actually using Grok is like very different.
So when you say nobody, we should acknowledge that X is using Grok, and very heavily.
Yeah, that's great.
And
but
no,
I mean,
but also like X users use Grok a lot within X to reply and give feedback. There's a lot of feedback loops that they have that is not like counted in like website visits, for example, right? So like all these companies like SimilarWeb, etc., that they compare like traffic to major labs. Grok.com is not the main place where Grok is used. It's on X usually for many people, and that's nearing 500 million active users. So like some of them probably use X in some capacity or other, and they're shoving X everywhere. There's a button of Grok. There's a button for Grok literally on every post in the main bar, etc. So they're really trying. I agree with you though. It's not a production model. They talked about working on a coding specific model. Nobody uses Grok for code, for example, yet, and it looks like this is kind of underwhelming, and this is not where XAI wants to be.
Yeah. And I'm talking about API usage. Yeah, it's awesome to see it wound into the actual X experience. The X algorithm is being driven by Grok now, so that's all great. But I just don't see how they get to be this massive API company at this trajectory. So
yeah, LDJ.
I don't know if you guys remember, but for a little while, and even right now when I'm checking, it does seem like Grok 4.1 Fast is actually surprisingly popular, and like right now it's number 8 on OpenRouter.
Yeah.
And half of the ones that's beating it are the Chinese companies. But it seems like actually the only American models that are beating Grok 4.1 Fast and API usage, at least on OpenRouter, is Cloud Opus, Sonnet, and Gemini 3 Flash.
They've been giving it out away for free on OpenRouter for the longest time. I think
that's
this
true
is the reason.
Too. Yeah, that's true.
And for very cheap as well for the paid one. So
let's look at the research though, because this happened really fast, and this is the type of research that Grok is really good at. I asked it, first of all, how long Ryan has been on X to confirm what he's saying live. So for quick fact checking live, it's great. And then I asked it, hey, who among the co-hosts is the longest on X? And it looks like Ryan with 19 years. I'm very close there with 18 years, 9 months. And then, and it looks like based on the user ID, it gets it. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Seems accurate.
Yeah.
Damn, 18 years, Alex. I'm impressed.
Dude, 18.9 years. I'm very close.
Almost 19.
He didn't get me right.
No?
No. I'm way before an X. But yeah, I started being active around 2020.
No, but it should use user ID. All right, folks, moving on. We have to cover open source as well, so super quick. But before open source, Wolfram, I would love for you to actually, it's connected to open source, right? You've tested a few models, and I would love for you to give us in this week's buzz a little summary, a little discussion about like the stuff that you've been doing. So let's go to this week's buzz, and then we'll be back, folks. We have a bunch more to discuss, including a new audio model from Google. Welcome to this week's Buzz, the corner of ThursdAI, where we talk about everything happening in the worlds of weights and biases. And for the last month or so, Wolfram has joined Weights and Biases and started looking at different models. So we are hosting on our inference service the latest models, and the latest that we have updated is GLM5 and Kimi K2.5 as well. And Wolfram has been looking at them and doing some evaluation. So would love for you to take the next 5 minutes to talk to what you found, man.
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, now that I'm getting started with the benchmarking stuff again, and I used to do MMLU Pro, but that is not what we need now. Basically about benchmarking. Everybody has their favorite benchmarks. Like Ryan said, SweBench, because he is a programmer. I want to use my agent with the most capabilities, so I'm looking for something that is agentic, and a multiple choice test is not doing it. So the benchmark I chose is the terminal bench, and I already share my screen. Can we bring it up? Does it work this way?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we are looking at right now is what we looked at before, which is the Gemini 3.1 Pro that just released, and the terminal bench. The reason why I like terminal bench is because it is not just a coding, but an agentic benchmark. We can look at the web page. Let's go to the terminal bench web page and
zoom in, please, if you can, on your web page.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So terminal bench. The examples they show, and this is interesting, it's not just program something, but they have something like build a Linux kernel or crack a password in an archive that is password protected, find out something, configure a JIT where you upload a file and it goes to a web server, to even train a model. So it's stuff that we are basically various tasks that we can give to our agents. That is why I chose this benchmark. And it basically has its own agent, but you can use, as we have seen, other agents. Like we have seen here that there's Codex being used, the Codex agent. And I'm building an OpenClaw agent, actually. So I can test this, which is what interests me the most. But by default, it's a Terminus 2 harness. And important about benchmarks is to always check how they are done. Because if we look at the different models, we see the different scores, 68.5% here. And here we have Sonnet, for instance. And what is important to always check how they test it, because they usually give you information what they are doing. And like they are using Terminus 2 here, and they change the resource allocation. These agentic tasks, they are running in sandboxes. You need some containers where this is happening because the agent is changing the system. And it has 89 tasks for this benchmark. And you need separate containers that don't influence each other or your host system. So check what it's doing here. Like GLM5, which is also a new model. And yeah, we are providing it via inference as well. So Terminal Bench 2.0, they have the cloud codes. No? Yeah. They have scores for cloud code as an agent, actually. And it's a little bit better in their own benchmark, but not even much better than the default benchmark. And they changed the settings. This is also very important. Wait, it moved a bit. It is also super important to check which model settings they are using and how they differ. They also changed the resource limits here. They have different timeouts by default. That is also a very important thing, the thinking. Like if we are looking at Kimi, I'm zooming in again.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kimi, for instance, said they turned off the thinking mode. Where is it? Here.
While running the terminal bench, right?
Yeah, which is interesting because at first you would think you want the highest intelligence for these benchmarks. But if you are going agentic, the thing is you have the context limit, and the Chinese models don't have 1 million contexts. They are usually around 256K or even less. And yeah, the thing is you want to have the model act quickly. And there are these time limits because an agent can get in a loop and it could run for 24 hours and not get ahead. So the benchmark cancels tasks after an hour by default, or depending on the task. And they raised it to 2 hours for many of these. Minimax also did change some settings here, and all tasks are 2 hours limited. And it's better for an agent to act quickly, see an error message, retry, and move ahead faster than if it is thinking for a couple of minutes, doing one action, then thinking again for a couple of minutes. So in this kind of benchmark, thinking is not even helpful and is turned off because you also generate so many tokens. It takes longer, it fills the context faster, and then the model fails harder than if it is not using thinking.
That's
also
very interesting.
To keep in mind. Yeah, it is super interesting benchmarks what you find out about what's happening here. And now we are looking at Qwen 3.5, which has a great score, by the way.
Which was released this week early. We didn't get to talk to it yet, but Qwen 3.5, shout out to the Qwen team for the release. Corner.
Yeah, we can talk about it. So it has 52.5, and I made a table of all these models and checked out which is the best. And basically, it is on the open source side, it is on the 3rd place. GLM 5 is on the 2nd place. Yeah, first place is not even open source. In these, in the comparison we are having here, Gemini is the best, followed by Sonnet, and then basically we have GLM 5, followed by Qwen, followed by Minimax, and then Kimi. And Kimi personally is still one of my favorites. It's multimodal, has a big context, and yeah, basically what I did then is the evaluations I'm doing. There are many scores, like we saw. The scores they report, they differ in various details. So you can't even compare the scores directly, which is something people don't think about all the time. But there are also different ways to measure the scores. Some of them did 4 runs. The Sonnet score was interesting. They did 5 to 15 runs. And then they did staggered runs, so it wasn't even in one run where they got the scores, while others did 5, and that is usually the thing. And the scoring you can get is, if you run these 89 tasks, what I figured out is that 20% are rock solid. This was with Kimi K2.5, basically, on our own inference. And 20% of these 89 tasks, they succeeded all the time. They are the rock solid core, you know, it does these. And then the others, there were a lot of fluctuations in there, which depended on various things. Like, for instance, if you change the runtime from 1 hour to 2 hours, the ceiling rises a lot more higher, because now there are tasks that can be done that have not been able to be done before. And so basically, when you take a closer look at the benchmarks, there are tasks that are easy. You could even take them out of the benchmark and still get interesting scores. And there are those tasks that sometimes work and sometimes don't. And you have a ceiling. If you check from all the 89 tasks, which task could the model actually do? Not in one run, but across all the runs, then you have the ceiling. That is what the model could potentially get as the best score if everything went perfect. And some other tasks, basically here, 30%, were never done, which is much better if you give it more time.
Wolfram, all these tasks are tasks on Terminal Bench 2 that have to do with how engineers code their work. The interesting thing here is the sandbox environment that you give it also has effects, and the different scores have effect. So even when we compare between kind of the model makers just released this chart and we're comparing this to this chart, the methodologies that they have are not always the same, right? So it's very hard to compare between them.
It's hard to compare. You are not comparing apples to apples if you don't check what the numbers mean. And you can report various scores. We don't have one score for a model, because it's very interesting to have, I can give a score for the ceiling which the model achieves. So I can say Kimi K2.5 could do 67.4% of this, which is even higher than what we just saw for Sonnet 4.6 or Gemini. What is Gemini's score again? Gemini has 68.5%, which is an average, I guess. But for Kimi, it could actually do 67.4%. They are possible, but that's not what you get in a usual run. And you could do a best of run where you just take not the average of the runs, but the best of. That would be another score, or the average score. So there's a lot happening here. And here we also see the range that is happening. And since this bar is not in the middle of the average, it's more, you can see that more runs were lower than the best of course, and around the average here in that area, basically. So what I'm trying to say is that benchmarks are complicated, but they are important, and you get a lot of information if you take a closer look and not just compare some numbers, which may not even be directly comparable. So there's a lot of information in here if you are interested in these things, and you can look at them and see how the model really does.
That's awesome. Wolfram, thank you so much for doing all this work. A lot of the evals that you ran also ran with Weave, our tracing and evaluation framework, by the way. So definitely, go ahead.
That reminds me, we also noticed the discrepancy when I did the benchmark with our GLM5. We had abysmal scores. I got only 5%. So I checked and I looked in the Weave traces to see what is happening, and I saw that there were issues with the code. It was writing Python script. It had errors that were brain dead model level. There's a smell of the model. It wasn't there. So I reported to our engineering department, and they found and fixed the problem, and now it's getting the real score. So that is why you are doing the evaluations, not just to find out which model is the best one, but also to make sure that your inference is doing the work. So it was quickly fixed, and I can now fully say that we are providing the right version, basically, of this.
So you used Weave to identify these errors before you figure out what's going on. This is why Weave exists. All right, folks, this has been this week's Buzz. Thank you, Wolfram, so much. We need to get back to our chat because there's a bunch of other stuff happening. And as I promised, I saw another another blow up article from a panelist here. Ryan, you went mega viral. You just mentioned this, that X Algo loves you. We also love you, and we would love to hear from you. If you give us a summary of what you posted, that'd be great. If you do a visual review and tell just a summary on ThursdAI, that'd be amazing because you keep churning out incredible stuff.
I feel blessed by the X algo, so thank you. probably to Nikita. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Essentially, all of us are trying to figure this out, right? We are trying to figure out how do we build a system that allows us to ship faster and more reliably. And I found that OpenAI produced a really good article. So I'm going to pull up mine really quick. And it's called Code Factory. Let's go to the actual article. And so this article here, I'm going to go here first to show you this.
If you can, make your window wider and also zoom in.
Let's make it wider. Thanks, boss.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And then zoom in if you can. Yes.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, let's go a little more. There we go. So OpenAI released this article called Harness Engineering. And they basically documented how they have set up Codex as what I'm calling a code factory, really a system that makes it easier to build, test, and deploy in a reliable fashion. But more importantly, it's really about ultimately the agents writing 100% of your code and reviewing 100% of your code. And then you are really doing final checks on PRs. So I would encourage everybody to read this. Read it in detail, and then have your agent read it to help you set up this system. So what I did is I wrote this article. Let me zoom in. That basically documented how I set this up. What I often do is that I work with the agent for a day or two, get the system set up, and then I ask the agent to document what we did. Then I take that markdown and I edit it to create an article on that. And it's pretty straightforward, right? You want a loop, right? You want a loop where the coding agent writes the code. The repo enforces risk-aware checks before merge. So what that means is you go in and define what are the high-risk files or routes or systems that if they get touched, the PR should be flagged as high risk, right? Which adds extra checks, right? And then you have a code review that kicks off. I use Greptile. It's great. I pay for that. Again, I'm not paid by anybody to say anything here. So I use Greptile, but there's plenty of good code review agents. And then there's evidence tests. So then there's CI. So this is all happening with GitHub Actions, right? So you have tests. You can do browser testing via GitHub Actions. And then you have a review. And then what happens is, Greptile will often find problems. And so then it triggers a Codex remediation step that then fixes that, and it loops until there's no more comments from Greptile. And then all the CI goes green, right? So you get all those beautiful green checks, and then okay, this code is safe to merge, and then you can theoretically merge it. Let's go into the high-level view here. So you open a PR, right? And then you classify the risk. Is it high risk or not? If it's, then you compute the required checks from those change files, and then you have a risk policy gate. So again, y'all, your agents can do all this, right? So what you do is point them at this article and say, help me set this up. And then you just keep cranking in this loops until you get a good green PR at the end. So this article just walks you through it, a little bit of code snippets on how to get it done, some things to think about. And bada bing, you have a code factory set up and running. And I will say, I use this, every day. It's not easy to set this up. So I think anyone who's looking for some sort of one-shot magic, silver bullet is never going to find it. You just got to grind with your system until it's set up. And you can do this on Codex, AMP, Factory, Cloud Code, pick your agent of choice, but dig in because it is absolutely worth it. And it's where we're going. And once you get your code factory set up, you're really going to start to move into a company factory where then you start to chain some of these flows together. And it's an exciting time to be alive.
So I want to use this kind of, first of all, huge props on posting incredible stuff that people that follow you get a lot of benefit from. Second of all, the thing that you mentioned, which is also a new thing for many of us now with agentic, is that, hey, point your agent to this article.
Yeah,
we'll set
hey,
this
agent,
up
read
you.
that.
Yeah, the agent read this. This is new from like last 2 months, right? Like just the fact that just for folks who are listening who feel behind, etc. This is new to us as well. We previously pointed agents to documentation websites for them to learn how to implement some stuff. Now it's like in skills, but now agents, because they can write code for themselves and they can self-improve, etc. Now it's absolutely possible to do what Ryan just said. Like, hey, there's this article. It's very complex. Point your agent to it. The agent will walk you through setting itself up in this way. So this is definitely a new thing. Ryan, what would you say the highlight of the kind of the change in thought in Code Factory for you as well? Is it the self-healing via grep.dao, or is it just like?
I think it's about this idea of setting up a contract. So you basically set up YAML files, JSON files that act as a contract between you and the Code Factory, right? And this is all machine executable, machine enforced, right? And that's the key here, is you need to start to get to the point where none of these things can happen until these gates are passed. And we used to hate this stuff in software engineering, right? Because it would really slow you down as an engineer. Like if you had to get a green CI before you could do anything, you would just want to kill yourself. But now the agent has infinite time and infinite patience. So you force it to go through these gates, and real magic happens. So that's the difference, is like from the beginning, think like you have a team of 100 engineers, right? Even if it's just you, take the time. It's like a week or more of setup. And it really unlocks absolute magic. It's what a time to be alive.
I think this also brings us to a discussion that we started having, and we probably should have right now, is that for some people, running agentic things in 24/7 is easier when they work on backend stuff. And then I don't know how much of what you said can be applicable for like a website.
It's funny because I was just following Xerox designer who I respect, and he was like, what is all this back end, you let the agent work for a year thing? He's like, this is not me. And I do think there's a big difference between front end and back end. But guess what, y'all? There's a system for front end that works. So install agentation. Like, it's free, it's amazing. And what it does is it puts a little pill on your front end and you can click it and then highlight the area that you want to comment on. You comment, and then you can paste that comment into your agent, and it targets, exact components, UI. And so you start to get that loop. But I think UI and front end is still very much, driving with your agent, and grinding through it. There's no loop yet for that.
For that, I want to also highlight that, like, we also experiment with tools. Some of those running companies, some of the like playing with this. My experimentation with the Sonnet tools and the OpenClaw was building a new website. So since the last show, by the way, this is like the world moves so fast. Last show was on Thursday. Friday morning, my agent, OpenClaw based, looking at my email, said, "Hey, Alex, your website is about to be dead, because the place where you hosted it is going down today." And I was like, oh, I need a new website. I don't know if many of you had this feeling that, like, I need a new website right now. But basically, I decided to, hey, well, like, we should use what we preach. We talked to you about this intelligence. It's like, it's never been easier to build websites. So my experience with building with OpenClaw and Codex and whatever is to try and lift a new website for ThursdAI. The previous website was just a regular website builder with like 5 links. There was nothing there. There's no system. And I wanted to show you what's possible, but also to talk about the fact that, like, front-end one-shot is a complete myth. So here's what we have. This is the new ThursdAI website. I would encourage folks to go to ThursdAI.news and check it out for yourself. And please give me comments, because again, ThursdAI.news, because again, one shot is a myth. So I asked Opus 4.5, which is by far the best designer, if on Design Arena, everywhere else, to give me 3 mocks of how a website should be. Before this, I asked a bunch of agents to go and do research on what podcast websites have. Some of them have episodes. Some of them have, links to different social medias. Some of them have the co-host, the host, etc. So here's what we have. I find it beautiful because this is like one of the 3 examples. And then you guys can see that there's a live now watch on YouTube and follow next. This was added just like 5 minutes before the show. The thing is, so we have beautiful guests, etc. The thing that we have all of you guys here as co-hosts as well, is some comments, and it looks nice. This is some issues with Substack. Never mind. The thing that I wanted to highlight though is this guest directory. So as iterating with this intelligence, we figured out that like, hey, I mentioned everybody who's a guest on the show in the transcript, but it's not stored anywhere. So we had to get to a guest directory, and we had over 160 guests at this point on the show, many of them from big labs like Google. Shout out to Google. Look at how many people from Google we had on the show throughout the years, right? So shout out to...
Is Steinberger not in there?
Peter Steinberger?
Yeah.
No, we didn't have him.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't a guest on the show. Yeah, Nistan, we didn't get them. Anyway, so the guest directory, 15 guests from Google. I will just highlight the fact that extracting those guests from the raw transcripts was a task that I would have never bothered to do before. I asked the agent to spin up multiple sub-agents to go and read every transcript of every show that we had. We had over 152 episodes at this point, I think, and just like try to extract the guests and then spin up this orchestration thing that happens. And then also one shout out that like every guest now has his own page for SEO purposes. Here's Nistan's page, for example, and dynamic OG tags. For those of you who know what OG tags are, then making them dynamic is kind of like the best thing you can do for your website, but it's really, really, really difficult. Agents decided all of this. With that said, none of this was one shot. The amount of conversations that I had with my agent to get to a level that this looks coherent between pages is absurd. The other thing that I kept talking about is all of these folks, including Ryan, with all my love, they talk to you about 24/7, etc. Without defining exact rules, which I did not do. I don't care if the website looks one way or another. You guys haven't seen the website, so it doesn't matter like while the website is up. And also, it's not a website that people use. It's just like a website for information. So it doesn't really matter if it changes in the UI a little bit. I have set up an automation to work on a few things at night while I'm asleep. And for the 3-4 days afterwards, I woke up to almost a completely new website every day. And that is just not sustainable for people in businesses.
You don't like that?
As I said, I don't care because first of all, the website is barely up, and second, as long as the information there, it's good for Google to like refresh the website, etc. It's just thinking about a company, for example, that would try to get an automation up and have agents working 24/7. This kind of outcome is not something that they need. And basically, where I'm going with this is one shot. I think is a miss, especially if it's related to UI or front end. And also running things 24/7, you have to have exact rules to define exactly what you want. Otherwise, the agents will go haywire. At least in my experience, I challenge everybody else to come and show me how they keep things coherent between pages, between multiple things, while running 24/7.
I think number one, you're right. There is no magic here, no silver bullet, and anyone who's saying otherwise is lying or doesn't use the tool. But I will say having a design system in place has really changed the game for me. So I work with Josh Puckett, who just released this really cool interface craft tool. And basically I have a design system folder with 3 documents in it. They're all marked down. And it basically explains the UI and the way the design works. And then I set up a skill that reminds the agent to always use the design system. And using that plus agentation works very well, but it's none of the front end. One of the front end UI stuff is happening in a loop for me. It's all back end.
Yeah.
So I think designers are some of the safest jobs in the world. So
if they work with these tools. All right, folks, comment on this. We have a little bit left, and we have a few items still to discuss. Any comments on how developers will still be needed in the world, especially if it comes to front end?
Look, I completely agree. I also run. I can't even tell you how many agents I fired this week. Like, it's a crazy amount of agents. The thing that is important to understand is that these things are a little bit random from time to time. By the way, this is how the method works. So it's not a question of whether a model can do or like can not mess up your code, or like cannot, like, I don't know, have a terrible mistake that will throw away the entire computer. It's just a matter of when, because it is a little bit random all the time. So the reason you need all these gates and all these things that apparently slow down humans. Yeah, they absolutely slow down humans, but humans don't mistakenly do very, very, very destructive things to the computer. You have the power to delete the entire computer, but you're not going to do it by mistake on your own because you're a human. Models can mistakenly at all, without you even realizing, just delete the entire computer, and like you can't even blame anyone because like a minute later the context is compacted, the model doesn't even remember what happened, and that's it. So these things are guarding you from the mistakes that once they happen, they are very destructive. They interrupt, they delete a lot of work backwards. So it's not a risk reward kind of way. Like, this is why you do all of these things. Moreover, one thing that I discovered that really helps, I have a very stupid hook that the hook just fires if any extension that hints that it is a code is being edited. Immediately a hook fires and asks the model, like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? About every tiny thing in a code. It specifically asks for defensive programming bloat, magic constants, things that are not mentioned in the actual prompts. And this just removes so many things that the model just adds on its own. And it's not because I hate extra code. I do hate extra code, but it's not because of that. It's because the next agent that comes to the code sees the entire thing. And they don't know that half of the defensive code is impossible situations that will never happen. For them, okay, this is the style on this code base. I'm gonna maintain the style, and then you get even more, and then you get more, and it becomes a point where you don't understand what exactly are the branches that you actually need to pay attention to, because these edge cases actually happen, and because there are so many of them. So this is pretty much what you're guarding against here. This is why code review is so important, much more than for humans. Not because you really want the code to be nicer, but because a lot of it is extremely unnecessary, and then you can follow. Amen. That was my take on the thing. Yeah.
Amen. Quickly, this is why document drift is such a big deal with Code Factory. Like part of the CI check is actually making sure you don't have documentation drift. And yeah, I'm nailing it, because it really quickly can happen.
Yep.
You need to finish the job. That's why you need an actual front-end developer. Like, if it's an app you're gonna hand over to a customer, or if it's something that makes money, it's even though Microsoft and other big labs make the same mistakes now, like you see just random UI stuff breaking everywhere, that's still not an excuse for you. Like, you can lose that contract. Like, at some point, you need to take the thing to completion. So yep. Yeah, that's the spot for good front-end developers.
All right, folks, this has been a great discussion. Many of the listeners of our show definitely are experimenting with agentic building and tools and agentic engineering. I don't know. It's not context engineering. It's not vibe code anymore. When you actually need to put stuff in production, it's not vibe code. Hardening your app with Code Factory and gates is not vibe code. Like, this is like the step after vibe code. So definitely happy that we are having this discussion here. The last few updates that we have to cover is, let me just pull them up. We have Google Lyria, which I wanted to play for you as well. Google DeepMind launched Lyria 3. It's the most advanced AI music generation model they call available in the Gemini app. It has creative controls, 30-second high fidelity tracks. It's very interesting. They call it like the highest quality one, but like the tracks are only 30 seconds. I really want to like listen to a few of them. Specifically, they have a prompt guide for it. But let me play a sample of Lyria by sharing the tab, because I do want to show you some of the music. Let's say. I don't know if you can hear this. Give me a second. So 30 seconds, I don't think is enough, but you can compose with images. You can upload the image and say, hey, generate music for this image.
Green hills, ocean air through the window pane, salt on your skin in the...
Yep, and give me 1 moment, please. All right, we gotta say bye to Ryan. Ryan, thank you so much for joining, and folks, definitely should be Code Factory from you. We'll see you here next week. Cheers, man. We want to show you more of these audio. Hopefully, it's not too loud for you. So the cool thing with Lyra is that they released a prompt 20% too loud. They released a prompt guide here that tells you about like how to prompt this. So you can prompt with vocals and lyrics. You can prompt with different prompts. That's obviously very useful, especially because you can send your agents to it and say, hey, write me some drafts because you don't know music. So Lyria from Google is very, very interesting that they go into this. Apparently, OpenAI has a music model somewhere that they are refusing to release for a while. So, we'll look forward to this. We didn't talk about open source at all. So I really want to talk about Qwen. Nistan, time for you to talk. I know you played around with Qwen a little bit. I would love for you to pick up Qwen and just let's chat about this. As this happened in Monday, I think on Monday they released Qwen 3.5.
Yeah, the benchmarks are showing very good. The coding it's all right in some of the tests that I wrote. I think GLM5 is still above. Actually, in my opinion, GLM5 is better than Gemini. I don't know if Qwen seems like on par with today's Gemini, but again, this is not the big coding model. So this is something for everything else, and I'm more excited about like the medical part and also trying to train it. So yeah, it's interesting. And this one is not a DeepSeek architecture because the other ones, I think both Kimi and GLM, both switched to the DeepSeek architecture. Except DeepSeek, I don't know what DeepSeek is doing.
DeepSeek. We don't know what DeepSeek is doing for sure. So Qwen 3.5, almost 400 billion parameters with 17 billion active. So very like a ton of experts, 512 experts with 11 active all the time. 262 native context window, which you can extend to 1 million with Yarn. 201 languages support. That's crazy. Like
they've always been fantastic at multilingual, even on the tiny model. So I kind of expect that. Yeah, and this is the other major thing about Qwen is the multilingual performance.
Yeah.
Actually, the dev lead, I think his what he went to school with was not AI stuff. Was actually linguistics. So that it shows in the model.
It shows, yeah.
Yeah.
Wolfram, you have comments about multilinguality for Qwen?
At least they cover a lot of languages, but the quality was never there. And it was a non-issue. When we had him on the show, we talked about it, and he said it will be a focus for a future release. So I will definitely test this one to see if now the multilinguality, it's not just the coverage, but also the quality that's there. I'm hopeful. I will check it out.
Yep. So Qwen 3.5, we also want to shout out that Cohere released a small Aya multilingual model, 3.3 billion parameters with 70 plus languages and support. Cohere, speaking of multilinguality, Cohere was always great. And Cohere for AI was releasing like multilingual apps, multilingual AIs, like very, very, very good ones. Folks,
Command R model was one of my main models for
Command R?
Command R and Command A. But R even more. I used that as my main model for a while because I could run it on my own system. So definitely, even at low quantization. So I'm a big fan of Cohere.
Yep. I think with this, we covered pretty much everything that we had on our docket to cover, besides Zifra, a 380 million parameter open source BCI tool. Let's talk about this for a little bit, because like EEG, electronic signals from your brain, this uses them to reconstruct brain signals from noise data. Have you heard about this? What's going on? And will this bring us to the world where like non-invasive BCI and I'd be able to control computers with my brain?
Yeah, I think this is one of the best. I haven't tested the model. It feels a little bit small, but this is also one of the best efforts right now on this field, and they released it completely Apache 2. So that means you could probably take one of those like $500 headsets and stuff. Non-invasive. You just put it on. Like it looks all right, and you can actually start to train it for your own data. So I don't know how good it is, or if it's there, or if it's usable. But this is the best thing that we have right now. I think it will need personalized training for each person, because this is kind of how these brain to transformer stuff has worked lately. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Again, I haven't looked at the architecture, but for people, basically just looked at electrical signals from your head, and these headsets are pretty cheap now that measure it. And up until this point, there were a lot of efforts, but like they weren't quite really there, or like they sort of worked, and they weren't going fully all in with getting people to modify them and to train them and to make them better. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. I might end up just buying one of those to see if I can make it work and train it more.
Yeah. I think the cool thing about this is like very small, 380 million parameters, like a very small model that can run like on device, likely with those devices, not necessarily in real time, but like, you can imagine in 2-3 years, this runs in real time. And
at that speed, it can probably run in real time on a gaming GPU, not even a very expensive one. It's tiny. And it's actually quite a lot of data for a 0.4B. So they would have needed like a lot of EEG data. I think other stuff before was like 1/10 the size of this, or it was a lot smaller. I think this one actually has the potential where you would just wear the headset around and you just look at the screen and maybe be able to like move some windows around, or just fire up your agents or close them. You're probably going to still have to talk to them, but yeah.
Alrighty, folks. I think that this pretty much covers everything that we had to talk to you about on the show this week. It was a very exciting week. The highlights would be probably Sonnet 4.6 and the new Gemini 3.1 Pro that we've been able to test on the show, and we're gonna still wait out and see like the vibe feelings from this. From last week, we had DeepThink, and I don't know if folks use DeepThink, but it was definitely a big thing. We always say that we want to cover last week's things as well, because as we covered them as breaking news, we didn't have a little bit of time to like play with them. I don't know if we had a chance to this week as well. With that said, everything that happens on the show ends up as a newsletter and a podcast on ThursdAI.news. Please check out our new website. My agent really worked hard on it. My agent really worked hard on this. So did I, by the way. It's not only like there's nothing there was one shot. We worked like really hard. Please check out the new website. Please share with your friends. We would love to see more folks going in there and discovering and subscribing to the show. The show is ending up as a newsletter and a podcast everywhere where you listen to a podcast. So if you missed any part of the show, look for ThursdAI.news everywhere where you get your podcast. We have a 4.9 rating everywhere. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you everybody who listens in. I think we're clocking in at over 1,500 folks tuning in for the show. Appreciate your time as always with you, LDJ, Wolfram Raven, Wolfram Peleg, Nistan Tahira, Ryan Carson was here, and your host is Alex Volkov. We will see you here next week, and I know for a fact there's going to be very, very incredible news there next week as well. So with that, thank you all. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.